I had the 8th pick. Again, 8 out of 10. So 1.08, I went Garrett Wilson. Then I went Drake London, Travis Etienne, Devontae Smith, Mark Andrews, Brian Thomas Jr., Jackson Smith-Njigba, Deontay Johnson, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Jermaine Burton, Justin Herbert, Josh Downs, David Njoku, Michael Wilson, and then my 16th round pick was just like, let me throw a dart at Tyrone Tracy. I don't know a damn thing about Tyrone Tracy other than he is a rookie that some people think is exciting. Yeah.
He is. He's fun. He's got like a Diet Coke David Johnson. Like that's his selling point. His former receiver that turned into a running back, got some size and speed.
On a shaky depth chart. I'll take it.
On a shaky depth chart. That buying shaky depth charts is, hey, that's a real dart throw. That's like a one to actually hit the board.
So I don't know what your thoughts about my team are, but I do just want to say my first pick here, Garrett Wilson, let me just admit this, I went against my own rankings here because if I go off my actual personal dynasty rankings, and I waffled on this in the moment and finally just went ahead and clicked Wilson here, but technically my rankings would tell you to take AJ Brown ahead of Garrett Wilson. And I did hate myself for doing it, but I also don't hate myself for doing it because I just think Garrett Wilson is on that rocket ship trajectory. Such a great player. Obviously the situation hasn't been great there, but it might be a little aggressive to take him here at the 8th overall pick ahead of a guy that again, AJ Brown, I think is as established an elite receiver as you can get in the league. But yeah, that's just kind of my thought process there. I will just say, me personally, listeners, viewers, it's okay to go against your own rankings, and certainly okay to go against my rankings at times too. When you just want to do it sometimes, and all things are close enough. I think they're both great players. So that was the one kind of problem I had. But I'll tell you what, Nate, I'll let you tell me what you think about this team. I really like this team as well, and this is as picture perfect of how I approach dynasty startups as you could possibly get.
Of course, talk about I'm always going to like players of mine that I like drafted. That's Devontae Smith, who I think is just going to always be a steady Eddie. And like, I think just his production is just always going to be good. Like, and even like just that you're always going to be able to rely on him, even if there's other receivers in that offense. So the fact you took him in the 4th round, along with another guy like Drake London, the 2nd round, along with the Garrett Wilson, I just think you had a nice little mix there where you have guys that legitimately, could play like a receiver 1 on a given week. And now you have 3 that can all hit in the same week. And I think an all in steady offensive like production, at least for, I think, Garrett Wilson this year. Right? After this year, it's a little, or maybe after 2 years. I don't care how long Aaron Rodgers is saying he's playing for. I think that's just always going to hold your hat, but he's so talented. Like, even didn't matter who was playing quarterback, you can just see his talent. Like, I've become such a bigger fan of his than I was as a prospect because he's hit so much more. He's had so much more nuance and layers to his game than he had before. I liked the fact that you freaking sniped Justin Herbert in the 12th round. The fact that I took a quarterback at 2.10, and you took him at 12.03. And I consider these guys both being elite quarterbacks. I know, but even fantasy production wise, I think Herbert's going to surprise some people. I don't think he's going to be great this year production wise because it's just the offense and who they're throwing. I think he's going to get more touchdowns than people realize because they're going to design stuff. Harbaugh's offense is going to be heavily designed, but that's a good thing. That means those are shot plays for touchdowns, not just 8-yard gains and dink and dunk. So it might be as much usage, but better usage or more efficient usage for him. So I don't know. I like that. Maybe because I have him in like 3 dynasty leagues, and so I'm talking myself into it. So yeah, but I like that pick a lot.
I mean, I have Josh Allen on like every single good dynasty team that I have, so we're on the same page here with the quarterback. And I knew that
it's really fun. It's really fun having Josh Allen on your team.
It's really great. I will say also, I knew we would have some receiver similarity here because I think you and I just kind of look at the position the same way. I know we've shared a lot of the same thoughts, but it's interesting that you pulled on both of those two ones, Devontae Smith and then the quarterbacks, because actually those are two of my kind of big picture thoughts. So let's dive into those a little bit here. First of which is the quarterback positional overview. And I did think it was interesting, Nate, because I think you were the first person to take a quarterback, and I was the last person to take a quarterback. So I'll just read off the quarterbacks here and where they went. 2.10, as Nate said, he took Josh Allen. And remember, this is a 1 quarterback league. No super flex, no 2 quarterback. Jalen Hurts went to Tara at the 3rd round, 2nd pick there. Producer Colin, God bless him, made his vanity content pick here. Whew. Every single mock draft, I think producer Colin, just listeners will know that he's trying to goad Andy into making fun of him in the recap, which I'm not sure if Andy did or not, but I'm sure if he was on the pod, he would do it. So I have to say that here. Anthony Richardson, 4.02, very, very aggressive. Got to respect him for taking one for team content there. 5.06, Andy took Patrick Mahomes. 5.07, CJ Stroud went to Mo. 5.10, Lamar Jackson went to Jason Klobaka. 7.03, Kyler Murray. 7.05, Jaden Daniels. 10.07, Joe Burrow. 11.06, Caleb Williams. Andy took a second quarterback. I still hadn't taken a first at this point. Colin then took a second quarterback in the 12th round at 12.02. And then I took my first quarterback, 12.03 at Justin Herbert there. And I think this is what's like, listen, I'm with you. It's fun to have Josh Allen on your fantasy team and just lock that spot down. And as long as he's playing football and his body is going to hold up, he is probably going to compete to be the quarterback one. But this is also, I think, the value of waiting in a single quarterback dynasty league. I feel great about the guy I got. And I don't know if I fully want to have this conversation here because I actually might want to have this with you tomorrow on the take shopping episode we're going to do. But I do think the Chargers offense is being slept on right now.
I do too. They invested in O-line. They're going to pound that freaking rock and it's going to be good stuff. Like they're very sound. It's not going to be a sexy offense. Like people are going to be bored because there's fullbacks and tight ends out there, and maybe they don't recognize the receiver names. Like, oh, Quentin Johnston's a bust. Ha ha ha! They can't throw the ball. This offense is going to be hyper efficient. It's not going to be sexy, and it's not going to have They're not going to blow the doors off statistically. I don't think, but it's going to be I think it's just going to be a sound offense, and I agree. They're going to be I don't want to say a good bad team, but they're going to be a team that beats bad teams. That's how I view the Chargers. They're going to be that kind of. In wrestling, they kind of have a wrestler that's like, he's kind of the one that is the gatekeeper for you to get to like, okay, you can now fight for the Intercontinental Championship or the Heavyweight Championship. That's what they feel like to me. It's like, you can't fight for the Heavyweight Championship until you beat the Chargers a little bit. But this is curious because I had the turn there at 210. And this is where being in my first single quarterback dynasty league kind of threw me off. Because I'm like, okay, when do I start it? Okay, I know when I kind of start maybe looking at this in a real redraft league. Okay, maybe here. Like, that's kind of what I was kind of like. And then this is Josh Allen. I'm going to take him. I would really like him because maybe the next time when I get to the turn, Mahomes won't be there. And he was, which had me kind of crying a little bit, not going to lie. But I had the turn there, and I was deciding between three players. Sam Laporta, because I wanted a tight end advantage and a young guy and with who I know can get production. Josh Allen and Nico Collins. I wanted two of those three. Then it became, I'm taking Nico Collins because I know you love him, but also just youth, everything, production already, future production, quarterback, offensive system, everything. So I lined up perfectly. I'm giddy. I got him. So is Allen or Laporta. I end up going with, I want the QB advantage. He's maybe a little more of a sure thing even to me. Does Laporta have injury stuff? He had some stuff in college. He's going to be banged up. He has a lot of high use, all that stuff. So that's what was the tiebreaker for me. But then maybe quasi reach for Trey McBride a little later, but I liked it. I ended up kind of talking myself into that actually worked out as well. But the quarterback run, I had no idea how to figure out. I just decided to start it rather than getting stuck with maybe a guy I was unhappy about. But then looking at how it broke down, maybe I would have changed some things, maybe redoing
this.
Yeah,
it's not perfect. Like, again, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I don't think taking Josh Allen to be your fantasy quarterback is wrong. And listen, there were some picks in the third round after you took him that I don't love. I don't necessarily think like all these guys should have been valued. Like there's some more volatile assets there for sure. So if you're just looking at a guy that you're just setting and forgetting for pretty much, again, as long as he is playing football, most likely in Josh Allen, I totally understand that logic. And honestly, like the Sam Laporta thing is interesting. He was the first tight end taken 3.04 by Scott Pianowski. And the second tight end was you all the way later with Trey McBride at 4.10. But I don't necessarily view Laporta as just number one tight end with a bullet, going forward. I think that could be a closer battle than that.
I agree. I think, again, there's the Ben Johnson factor. And there's a lot of good play callers in the league, but he's just always that threat he's going to leave. And it's just such a hyper designed offense. It's a sniper offense. Like that's what it is. They line you up and they find that perfect weak point. They get you, okay, we have this play called from the 20 to 25 yard line. Oh, we're on the left hash. Let's call it. Boom, touchdown. Sweet. Woo. Does that stick if Johnson leaves? So that's why I just in my head, how they use Laporta is perfect. How they use St. Brown is perfect. Does that stay perfect once Johnson leaves? So that's why dynasty-wise, I have a little hesitation, just a tad, that I still think these guys are good, very good players, but they get dinged a little bit once the play power leaves.